if you are someone who has small children, or you are thinking about having children or more children, and you are concerned about all of the mental and cognitive issues that are in the world, such as ADHD and ASD, and you want to help prevent that in your children, then this is the place to be, because that's exactly what I'm going to talk about. Hi, my name is Lisa Ande Garcia, and I am an integrative developmental and educational specialist, and my focus is helping you to reverse learning and behavior challenges that your child's experiencing. In this video, you are going to gain some strategies on how to prevent ADHD and any other cognitive disorder for your unborn or for your young child that is not experiencing or expressing any issues at this time. Make sure first that you hit the subscribe button so you'll be the first to know when I post any new piece of content. So if you've watched the previous videos that we talked about the causes of ADHD, we've talked about toxins, so you can pretty much get a sense of most of the things that you're going to need to do to prevent having problems. And if you're thinking about getting pregnant, now would be the time to talk to your doctor about detoxing from chemicals and heavy metals. Because as we talked about, chemicals and heavy metals are one of the core problems that is the root of ADHD, ASD, and other issues. A lot of the toxins that the baby has is passed on from the mother in the womb. So unfortunately, us mothers, we have a huge toxic load just because of life, and we pass that on to our babies. So now babies are born, they when they test the cord blood, they're testing for over 300 chemicals in their cord blood that shouldn't be there yet. Okay, so the cleaner you are, the cleaner your baby is going to be, and this is something that I really wish I knew before having any of my own children. All three of my children had issues, and I actually considered myself to have, I was pretty healthy, reasonably speaking. But my oldest had ADD, my second is autistic, and my youngest, he was born early, so he had his own little issues. But there's such a age difference between the two that by the time he was little, we pretty much kind of knew what to do. So he has some little lingering issues, but he doesn't have any problems in school or anything major. Unless you call being a teenager a problem, then it's another case. He's almost 15. And he's like this little shorty, and he's already talking about like driving. Like all of a sudden he has this like thing like he wants to drive. I don't even think he's going to be able to see above the steering wheel. But anyway, I digress. When you are pregnant, you want to see if you can minimize your stress. Your cortisol spikes do impact the fetus. And if you experience stress or a traumatic situation, taking care of it, with things like somatic release or energy work or whatever, kind of natural things that you do, but you want to address it as it's happening. Because a lot of times when I work on kids and we're going back looking at which stressors might be causing a problem, and we're often in the womb like going, okay, what happened during the second trimester or the third trimester? So if you have anything come up, just to see if there's ways that you can address it. But no matter what we do, we are still in contact with toxins. So taking chlorella is highly recommended by Dr. Klinghardt while you're pregnant and while you're nursing. And he always told us how the moms who took chlorella and high dose chlorella, often he would call them having chlorella babies, and all those babies were really healthy. And chlorella is actually usually in like little tablets or in powder. It's a food, so but chlorella is a binder, and it binds to toxins. There's two kinds of chlorella. There's chlorella purulenta and there's chlorella vulgaris. Chlorella purulenta maybe is a little bit better of a binder, but it can be has a little bit harder to break down, and it can be a little bit constipating. So you need to know that. Either uptake your water or adjust it. You don't want You'll be defeating the purpose if you're taking a binder to bind toxins, but you're blocking your exit by getting constipated. So most of the chlorella that you find is chlorella vulgaris, and it's a little bit better as an amino acid. It's still a good binder, and either one. But having in a high dose means, like, for example, a tiny little tablet. Let's say if you ate 3 times a day or more, like if you have something really issue, like people who have Lyme, they're taking like 23 times a day or even higher. They're just taking a lot, just making sure that they're not getting constipated. And some people, just with the chlorella, they're able, because there's so many toxins, and it's able to clean out their system. So anyway, having chlorella baby is going to be really good. Or if you have your own really good ways of binding, different binders bind to different things. So you have to do your homework. You have to talk to your doctor. I'm not going to I can't be recommending anything, but I'm just giving you educational advice about what I know. Again, chlorella is also a good source of amino acids. So, when you need a good sources of protein, chlorella is good for that too. But Dr. Klinghardt was recommending it for the binding aspects. Also, make sure during your pregnancy that and nursing that you're getting the right sources of vitamins and minerals, and that you're, that you go to like a really good naturopath or whatever for getting your vitamins and your minerals, what you need for pregnancy. I am not an expert at dosing for pregnancy, so I'm not the person to ask. But you do need to be aware that our body always needs minerals we need minerals to make like everything, and you're like making a whole human, so you're going to need to make sure that you're having your minerals. Minerals come in macro minerals and micro minerals. Macro minerals are your electrolytes, your magnesium, your calcium, your potassium, your sodium. Your micro minerals are all the trace minerals that are found in like Celtic sea salt and Himalayan salt, or whatever. Also, it'll be important to know if you have the MTHFR gene mutation. If you don't know what that is, do a little bit of homework and see if you think that's something that pertains to you. And because if you do, you need to be making sure you're taking the right sources of folate and B12, which would be the methyl versions, because your body will not be able to process the regular version, and then that's not going to be good. So for folic acid. So a lot of people these days do have the MTHFR gene mutation, or their system is just not working properly, so the methylfolate is better. Minerals, we already talked about minerals a little bit. When you are nursing and you're pregnant, you want to eat as clean as you can be, right? Because our foods is a huge source of toxins, between glyphosate being sprayed on our grains, between metals being in our fish or whatever. So eat as clean as you can. When you have your fruits and vegetables, there's different ways of washing them. We even have we have like a little ozone thing, but you can do the hydrogen peroxide solutions. You can do vinegar solutions. There's different things that you can do to try to make sure that your fruits and vegetables are clean, but also make sure that they are organic. If you, and also the fruits and vegetables are organic, but then also grass-fed meats and free-range meat, like free-range chickens and grass-fed beef, and avoid inflammatory foods. So if you know that you have an issue with inflammation and inflammatory foods, but maybe you're not sure which one, but you can just tell that you have some issues with it, you might want to go do a blood sensitivity, a food sensitivity blood draw. It's not an allergy back scratch test, so your regular doctor isn't going to be able to order it. There are specialized labs out there. So if you need to be pointed in the right direction, or I can help you out with that too, you can just message me and let me know. But sensitivity is a different antibody that is stimulated than an actual allergy. And those food sensitivities can take 24, 48, up to 72 hours even to create an immune response. So oftentimes you could be eating something that is your body is sensitive to and creating an immune response like every day, right? Like let's say it's gluten's in everything, and so you're having just this constant. So there's no way that you, unless you do a elimination diet, it's really hard to figure out what it is that your body is sensitive to. So you might want to do that. Or there's an electrodermal test that you might find at a naturopath, and it's like a kind of a little machine, and they test against the frequencies of all the foods. So there's different ways to do that. And when you get the results, anything that's in the red and the orange, that's what you want to eliminate. So just stick with the green, because it'll be, not as. Now what happens is you do have to be careful. Sometimes if you eliminate everything over here, and it's just like for 3 to 6 months, not forever, not your entire life, just for a while until your body calms down. But then if you eat like in the green, if you're eating something every day all the time, your body could get a reaction to that. So make sure that you're rotating your foods well. And by the way, anytime you eliminate anything food related or whatever, especially when you're pregnant, make sure you pass any changes that you think you want to make by your doctor first. I'm just giving you educational advice. Once your baby is born and is a small child, you want to make sure that their environment is not chaotic and is free from stress as much as possible, obviously, because those baby and childhood traumas, it might seem like to you, it might not seem like anything, but anything can be perceived to the baby as traumatic. So you want to make, just kind of have a stress-free environment. And having established routines for bed, feeding, and naps, and all of that is very helpful. But finally, but not least, you do want to make sure you are giving your baby plenty of sensory stimulation and sensory experiences for your child. Babies learn and their brains grow through their sensory experiences. 80% of the nervous system is coming up into the brain, so coming in from the sensory world. So sensory stimulation includes things like deep pressure, light touch, even like vestibular and rotation. Do things like infant massage. So there's like usually little infant massage classes that you can do. And this isn't just for your infants or small children. If you have a child, if you're watching this because you already have a child who's struggling, who has ADHD or autism or whatever, they need this for a long time. Even my autistic son, he's 22, probably until he was 18, he was still asking his dad, he's like, want to fight, right? Fighting or rough housing with your dads is a really therapeutic thing for children, especially with ADHD. So again, also I was going to talk about vestibular stimulation. Your balance system is right here. It's part of your inner ear. It's like the ear has like two components. There's like the hearing part and the balance part. That's called the vestibular system. That has nuclei in the brainstem, and those are responsible when that is activated. When you like tip your baby upside down and you spin it and rotate it and even throw it in the air, and let's say you're the husband and you throw it in the air and the wife is, the mom is like going, no. But all that vestibular stimulation and spinning and rolling on the grass and whatever you do with your baby, that is so good for the development of their postural tone. So they having good muscle tone. So kids who have really weak muscle tone, you need to do a lot of that. And it's really good for learning, and it's really good for the development of the visual systems. Okay, so it's vestibular movement is so important. So kids who are afraid of moving, you might have to gradually work up to it, but you have to get them past that. And also like putting your baby on their tummy. Some babies do not like to be able to lift their head. Their neck muscles are weak. They might have their reflex, their primitive reflexes might be active when they do that, but they have to be on their stomach to be able to integrate reflexes, to be able to develop good, tone in their back and in their neck. So don't, just because they don't like it, don't avoid it. They really, really have to do it. Because we're like, when they're 12, you don't want to be undoing things because you just didn't, do it when they're little. In this video, we talked about how to prevent symptoms such as ADHD and other cognitive disorders. But in the next video, we're going to talk about how to reverse them. And if you have found value in this video, you might like to join my Facebook group community, Restoring Healthy Brains, and you can find that link in the description below. And I hope to see you there.